All right, it is 5 o'clock, so we will call the Kittitas County Public Hospital District #1 regular meeting for September 25th, 2025 to order. First, we have the approval of the agenda. We need to amend the agenda to add a capital expenditure under it'll go under finance.
I didn't have it.
So will added E3. Capital expenditure, which we will discuss when we get there. Does anyone else have any other changes they'd like to suggest to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion when ready.
I'll move to approve as amended.
I'll second. A motion by Erica, second by Terry. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I too will vote aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
We didn't get a vote from Matt, from Bob.
I don't believe it. Do you see Bob online?
I don't.
Okay,
He should be joining us.
so yeah, he'll join us when he can. On to the consent agenda. If you've had a chance to read the consent agenda, I will entertain a motion when ready. Vote to approve. Motion
Second.
by Matt, second by Erica. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I
I too will vote aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
A little kid public.
We are to public comment and announcements. Oh, it's nice to see a crowd here.
I have a quick announcement.
Please.
We are finishing up our flu shots for anybody else. We've already had them. So if anybody needs a flu shot. Administrative.
So if anybody here needs a flu shot, and like to be dismissed for a few minutes, feel free. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You guys have a great night.
thank you, thank you. Anyone else like to make a public comment? We welcome all of your thoughts. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to presentations. First up is the Safe Catch Awards, and Commissioner Altman is on that committee, so I will hand it off to him to introduce the Safe Catch Awards for this quarter.
Yeah, so I say this every time I do this, but this is really the best part of the job because you get to see all the amazing work that people are doing. And it's always a difficult decision to make, choosing who wins the award because there's so many really wonderful nominations. We have 2 awards tonight. One is for the clinical award, and that is I'll start with the non-clinical award. No, that's all right. I'll go with the clinical award. So the clinic, I do want to remind everybody before I get to that, what a safe catch involves. A safe catch involves at least one of the following: catch prevented an event from reaching a patient or staff member, catch prevented pain, delays in care, unnecessary costs, or workflow inefficiencies. The situation was high risk or had potential for greater patient harm, such as communication errors, surgical site infections, or falls. The catch led to frontline or just-in-time improvement. Right, so our first award is for the clinical award. The winner is Zane Davies, the coordinator of athletic services. And he was nominated by Rhonda Holden for encouraging a patient to seek medical care. Student swelling in his arm and hadn't told or shown it to anyone. Zane recognized this as a serious situation and called the student's mother, advising them to go to Rapid Access. Rapid Access evaluated the student and sent him to the ED. ED consulted with Children's Hospital, who accepted him and transfer. The student then underwent surgery to remove a blood clot from his arm. Cole said the student's mother is over the moon pleased with Zane and KVH for saving her son's life. Congratulations, Zane, on this award. Our non-clinical award, I should mention too, thanks to Bo Snow and Cole Conyer for joining us tonight and supporting Zane. Our non-clinical award nomination tonight and our non-clinical award winner is Cody Susan, housekeeping aide with environmental services, nominated by Jim Gallagher for discovering the kitchen and taking action. Cody was cleaning the cafe at about 11:30 p.m. He noticed a fire in the grill area of the cafe that was due to a faulty thermostat on the cooktop griddle. Cody contacted the house supervisor who got the gas feed to the griddle turned off and the fire was stopped. Big thanks to Cody for keeping the hospital safe. Congratulations, Cody. Well, thanks to both of you for the great work you do. And now Eric and I will go out and congratulate you more personally. John.
Excellent, yes, thank you. Photo time.
Congrats, Zane and Cody.
Thanks for nominating.
Yeah. All right, well, they step out for a moment, get some photos. We're going to continue on to the department spotlight. And Jennifer, I will have you introduce the spotlight for tonight.
Okay, so our department spotlight is accounting fiscal services, and in true accountant fashion, James extended an invitation to all of his staff, and they all decided they did want to come.
All right.
Pictures on the screen. So James is alone and he's going to tell you all about our wonderful fiscal services.
That's right. Well, I'm James Stevenin. I'm the controller. We are all tucked away up at Radio Hill. I know that accounting and numbers and finance is everybody's just favorite topic, so we're gonna get into it tonight. I'll start off. We go to the next slide. I don't have the thing.
This does work, yeah.
It's okay.
You want to,
No.
okay, you tell me. and I'll-
So the teams that I'll be talking about tonight is our accounts payable team, payroll, accounting, and our auxiliary accounting services that we do. The first team that I want to talk about is our account payable team. So accounts payable, just high level overview. And if at any point tonight anybody has any questions, I'm going to be at a 30,000-foot view. If you want me to dig into anything, please feel free to interrupt. But accounts payable, we pay the bills essentially. If you turn a light on, we pay the utility bill. If you're using the internet, we pay the internet bill. If a Q-tip is used down in the ED, we end up paying for it in some way. And because we end up paying for all the bills around here, we have an AP system that has over 34,000 vendors. Every year, our team processes just shy of 30,000 invoices, and that ends up being about 100 to 150 invoices per day. And we process checks every week, and every year we process just over 10,000 checks a year. If we go to the next slide. So one of the things that we have in the accounts payable team is we have to make sure that all of those 30,000 invoices that are getting paid every year is they have to get approved by a department director. And the old system that we used to have was, a paper invoice would get mailed to KVH. It would be put into an envelope and it'd be sent to a different department. And then that person would take it out of the envelope, look at it, put it in another envelope, send it all over Owensburg between our different buildings. And we kept asking ourselves, there has to be a better way to do this. So in the accounting system, we created this that probably means nothing to most of you. But what you can kind of think of is an invoice will start here at this point and will bounce around to all these different red and yellow boxes. And at some point it makes its way all the way up here to this green box and then we get it paid. And this is essentially what we call our AP workflow system. And in this, it's, we built rules so that way, these red boxes are fail safes. If there's any issues or errors, we can get those corrected. But yeah, this is our AP workflow system. It's been something that we've been developing over the last couple of years. It saved a lot of time, a lot of energy. It's the way that we can see where an invoice is sitting, if it's paid, if it's not paid, if a vendor calls us and says, hey, we haven't seen this invoice paid yet, we can go into our system versus the old way of, well, we sent it in the mail and we don't really know where it is. At least now we can tell them, hey, it's on the way, or, we're processing it. And yeah, that's our AP system. We go to the next slide. Oh, and sorry, all of that mapping ends up becoming just a 3-step process for us. The AP team enters the invoice into the system, a department director receives an email, clicks approve, and then it goes out. So all of that crazy mapping that we just looked at essentially just ends up being a 3-step process. It's a lot of work for a 3 process, but again, it saves us a lot of time and energy.
So much better.
It's a lifesaver.
Yeah, those 30,000 invoices used to go interoffice mail all throughout the organization. And sometimes one invoice would need to be signed off by 5 different people. So it would go all throughout the organization multiple times, collect its signature. It would go beyond it'd sit on people's desks sometimes and then go overdue. And then we have to pay late fees. So this system that James has implemented has been absolutely huge for streamlining.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. And so the next team that I want to talk about is our payroll team. We process payroll every 2 weeks, so we have 26 pay periods or 26 paychecks in a year. Our payroll team processes payroll for 800 employees roughly every 2 weeks, and that ends up being about 1,000 direct deposits goes out of our bank. We employ we have employees in 7 different states, so that means 7 different tax codes, 7 different tax reportings every quarter. And we also have a system that navigates 5 different unions. I will be honest, I don't want to get too much into payroll because it gets into like sensitive employee information, and I don't really know what I'm allowed to say and not say in a public setting, so I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of it. But I did want to highlight some of the good things that, all of the things that our payroll team is doing. And I do want to share one story on the next slide. I remember, so this is dated July 19th, 2024. And I don't know if anybody remembers this, but July 19th, 2024 was actually a payday for KVH. And one of the first things that I do every Friday on a payday is I wake up and I check my phone to make sure that I got paid. And I did. So I got ready for work, and as I'm walking out the door, I see one of these headlines pop up on my phone. And I'm seeing that it affects banks. And if you can't read it, it says major global IT outage, grounds flights, hits banks, and businesses around the world. So I'm leaving the house on a payroll Friday going, great, I get to face a worldwide global IT outage to make sure that 800 people get paid. Turns out there was some type of software issue that the banks had. We did everything that we were supposed to get the money out. It was the banks that were receiving the funds that had an issue. So it wasn't anything that we did on our end, but I will remember that to the day I die, walking out as one man. Okay, let's take on the world. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, that was everything on payroll. If we want to go to the next slide. So the next team that I wanted
I
to talk
remember
about,
that day too. I think that was
you?
the day I had to take PTO, so I think it was my fault.
I blanked that day out of my mind.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know it was on here. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so our accounting team, I think of accounting as more of like a catch-all. We do monthly financial statement preparation, balance sheet reconciliations, the packets that you're looking at on the desk in front of you. My team helps put those together every month. We make sure that everything is correct on the assets, the liabilities. On the income statement, we make sure that revenues are stated correctly, expenses are stated correctly. One of the things that my team does is we have to keep current with GASBs. And for those of you that don't know, GASB stands for Government Accounting Standards Board. And with the GASBs, we do an annual financial audit to make sure that we're in compliance with GASB. And then every 2 years, our accounting team does an SAO audit, which is state auditor's office. So we get audited by the state every 2 years. And the state looks for something a little bit different than what the annual financial audit looks for. The state looks that we're in compliance with laws and regulations put out specifically by the state of Washington. If we go to the next slide. So these are 2 examples of some of the GASBs that get put out. These 2 GASBs significantly impacted KVH over the last couple of years, so I wanted to put them on here. This one on your right side is GASB 101. It's related to compensated absences, and that came up in our most recent audit. And this GASB on your right side is GASB 96, the subscription. I can do this without looking. Subscription-based information technology arrangements GASB. And both of these GASBs are in a PDF online, and they are about 75 to 100 pages long. If you want me to talk about them, I can, but I don't have to. Let's go to the next slide. And these are just a couple of the reports that we get. So this is the annual financial audit for District 1, and this was a state audit that we completed for 22 and 23, and then we'll be having another audit with them in the coming year. Both audits, I just want to recognize from my team, clean remarks, no findings. We got good kudos from our auditors, so huge shout out to my team. And one thing I do want to point out with audits too that I like to think about is, yeah, it's great to see a clean audit report, but what an audit really represents in my mind is a full year's worth of doing your job correctly. So it's not like, hey, we had a good week, let's keep pushing. It's no, we had a whole year where we were doing things right, and we had recognition saying that we did do that right. So big kudos to my team for that. We go to the next slide. So everything that I just talked about, AP, payroll, accounting, my team doesn't only just do that for Hospital District 1, we do that for Hospital District 2, the foundation at KVH, Kittitas County Health Network, and I'll kind of talk about what we do for each of those. Go to the next one. So Hospital District 2, same industry as District 1, so the accounting for that is relatively the same, which is pretty nice. They also have an annual financial audit, and they have a state audit every 2 years. So if you're keeping track, my team 1 year will do an audit with the state for District 1, and then the next year we'll do an audit for District 2. And then we do District 1 and then District 2. So we're always getting audited by the state. It's so fun. We get to be good friends with our auditors. I think the next slide is, the foundation at KVH. So something that's kind of unique about the foundation is they are a nonprofit organization. So you have to have a different accounting process for a nonprofit organization. You're not keeping track of patient revenue, you're keeping track of donations and fundraisers, and it's a different set of accounting. And my team does a great job of doing that. They also have an annual financial audit, and something unique to the foundation is they have an Form 990. If you're not familiar, an annual Form 990 is a form that you have to report to the IRS for any 501c3, and we help prepare that for the foundation every year. And I think the next slide is the Kittitas County Health Network. We refer to it as KCHN, but what's again unique about KCHN is they are grant funded. So we have hospital district accounting for District 1 and District 2, and then we have nonprofit accounting, and now we have grant accounting. So we have to be experts in 3 different types of accounting in my building. Grant accounting is a totally different beast. You have to, well, I don't want to get into it. KCHN, they also receive an annual financial audit, and because they are grant funded, because of the type of organization that they are, if they go over $750,000, that number might have gone up, but if they go over $750,000, they do get a single audit, which they do the financial audit and the single audit at the same time. But a single audit is much more intensive. They get much more into the weeds, and basically, in my mind, a single audit is you're spending grant money from the federal government, so you need to prove that you're spending grant money from the federal government appropriately. So it makes sense to me, but it's just another one of the things that my team does. And then KCHN also has a Form 990 as well, because they're a 501c3. And I think on the next slide, there's just some copies of the financial audit reports, the state audit reports for District 2, Foundation, and KCHN. And again, huge shout out to my team. Clean remarks on all of them. We get kudos from auditors with every audit that we go through. But again, I just want to point out there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other 2 that we do for District 1. So we go 6 audits on a regular basis. So we end one audit and then we go into another one. It's a lot of fun. We get to know DZA very well, is what I'm trying to say. And I did not put up copies of the Form 990 just because it does have some more detailed information, but you can get in and you can search for them online if you really want to see them. I don't know what that was. But anyways, so thank you everybody for kind of sticking with me. I know, again, finance and accounting and everything isn't everybody's favorite, but one of my favorite quotes about accountants, I think I actually have it on the next slide, is an accountant is a person who solves a problem that you didn't know you had in a way that you can't understand. And that's what we do.
But we like getting paid.
Yes. Yeah. I think payroll is the one people understand the most. Yeah. Cool.
It's a lot of work, and they do a great job.
That was all I had. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to, but
Fun and informative.
Yeah.
Level that I can understand.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Really appreciate it.
absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, James.
All right, so moving on to reports and dashboards. First up, we will Chief Corporate Officer Andy Olson.
See, we're gonna start on page 12. Questions? Oh my goodness, I forgot to get the compliance rates from my full for this meeting. Forgot to get that. I know on the first day of flu shots, we did 120. So they're really getting out there and taking care of that with folks. So we're doing really well. To begin with, I just don't have the numbers. But we will be getting those updated to you. Oh, she said at the October board meeting. Never mind.
Typical
Supposed to have-
compliance, sorry, Mandy, typical compliance rates at the end, there's, what is typical?
Oh, in the past, we were up at 91, 92%, but then after COVID, it's pretty typical that they're closer to 75%. And I think that was where we were last year, if I remember correctly.
Does compliance mean vaccinated or compliance means vaccinated or a
Oh, what
declination?
we care about is we want to know our status of all of our employees. So we want to know whether they declined or they got their flu shot.
Okay.
But the vaccination rate was at 75%. The
Okay.
compliance rate is what we call like whether or not we have your documentation. And I can't remember what we got up to last year. So our employees will have to mask though if they are not vaccinated by November 1st.
Was this specifically flu in this case?
Only flu. Let's
Anybody have any questions for Mandy's report?
I'll add one thing on the Medicare wellness visits. Stacy reported to the team, when we were looking at our data that they've been mapping out the current Medicare wellness processes across the clinics and figuring out we have a lot of different ways we're doing it in the different clinics. So even without the new, a staff person that we need to the nurse position, they're still looking at across the organization. How can we do this the same way and have, a KVH experience wherever it is and improve that experience for how we're currently providing it. So they're doing work even without the filling that position.
I think you've addressed this in previous meetings, but the educational here now, how do you set the goals on the different measures? Because if you compare like fall risk screening at 80%, Medicare wellness for 60%, is this, I mean, some of these are probably by regulation, but
The goals, we set those annually and that's part of what we do along with the dashboard measures is recommend goals with the team.
right, so how do you come up with the recommendations for 60% as 80% or 40%?
Well, it depends on the measure. In particular for the Medicare wellness visits, I don't remember how we set that 60%. We knew we wanted to be better than like a benchmark, which was the Washington Rural Health Collaborative average. I can't
So you
recall.
want some sort of stretch goal, but that's not gonna be completely out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I mean, some things the goal is gonna be 0, like surgical site infections or hospital acquired infections.
Yeah, falls.
That's really what we're going to. Sometimes you have multiple things, but we're working with the team to say, yeah, what's optimal for our patients and then what's achievable. I don't remember off the top of my head how we set every single.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a good question, like hospital mortality is at what, 5.5%? Well, that's the
Those are
Washington,
based on, yeah,
that's the Washington average. I mean, obviously our goal there is 0, but we have, yeah, anyway, it was just a general question.
I don't, but and there's certain ones like that. I don't know that you would want it to be 0 because that might mean that you are kicking people out
Charging really high-risk patients.
essentially,
Yeah.
right? Like there's going to be a number of patients that unfortunately they pass in your facility.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah. So
Okay, yeah, it was just a general.
I think it's a good question, especially for.
I know that
providers.
Medicare Wellness one was based on the rural collaborative, and each hospital in the collaborative selected a goal, which was supposed to be a stretch goal above where you're at. So I know that's one that I know we have because it's a shared one with the collaborative. The fall risk and diabetic risk screening one, that was one that we worked through actually with Dr. Hibbs and analyzing some data, and it was intended to be a stretch goal because it used to be really, really low. And then we actually did a trial program on that one and tied compensation to it. And magically, when we did that, it went way up. When we dropped the trial for compensation, it started to fall, which is where it's at now. But I know that one was set in collaboration with some providers and a compensation plan tied to it. So I think they are all a little bit different.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just to speak on one, I do know the reason, but like the employee incidents or reports, that was set based on a standard the only one we could find that said you should look at the number of beds you have in a hospital and you should have at least 2 incident reports per month per bed. And that was where we came up with the 50 was the goal, but that was the only benchmark we could find as far as incident reporting.
Anything else for Mandy? Any questions? Thank you. Up next is Chief Executive Officer Jason Adler.
Hey, thank you, and sorry that I'm not there in person, but also thank you for allowing me the flexibility to be here remote today and allow me to do some continued education. So, as you know, I've been pursuing the fellowship of the American College Healthcare Executives. So both Stacy Olea and I are here today. She is the fellow in that, and she's been my sponsor through that as well, because I had to have a fellow sponsor me. So we're both here doing that conference this evening and tomorrow. A few things on my report. Just again, want to re-shout out because I think it's worth it that we passed the levy. I think we've got to just celebrate that for at least the next 60 years since the last one was passed 61 years ago. So hopefully it'll continue to be celebrated after I retire, because I would anticipate that'll be after 60 years, but who knows. Next thing, just thank you to the board for the work to develop our strategic pillars. So we've been working on getting that information out to our leaders. And on Monday, we're going to be doing a QAPI and operations planning, really grounding, visioning session on Monday. What that'll look like is just an all-day event with all leaders invited to the hospital, plus really our strategy driving leaders as well, being Jonica, Scott Casey, and Crystal Densley, to help really put together our vision and 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year planning to be going on. And I envision that planning document, or what would come out of that, to really be a fluid document. Healthcare changes rapidly, so year to year, month to month, we've got to be able to pivot on our feet, and day to day, really, as everybody in the room knows. So thank you just for the support to develop those pillars, which was really a first step in coming up with our operations plan to come, and really excited to share with the board the work that comes out of that. But it will be some months down the road as we collect feedback Monday, and then our executive team disseminates that and takes next steps to come up with a solid plan. Access to care, just continue to recruit, retain. It's up and down. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I think today was 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We did lose 3 candidates that we anticipated to onboard over the next few months that weren't able to come through for various reasons, including passing their boards to be qualified to be able to become employees. But we look forward to those potential candidates to continue to work on what they need to so that they can start with KVH. But it probably postpones that for 3 to 6 months for some of them. But shout out to the recruiting team, Dr. Thomas, Janine, Kat Bruner, and Heather, and Jen Strader and Marlo, everybody for their recruiting efforts. And when we do have those ones that do not make it to seeing patients here at KVH, it is a bit of a downfall and letdown for everybody, but we take it with a smile and keep going. We did sign a contract with the University of Washington's Airlift Northwest, so that was in collaboration with KVFR and Medic One, KVH, and Airlift to have a preferred provider agreement with them. As part of this as well, they agreed to a MOU that I had drafted that would have them participate in some training and drills with us at least twice a year. So it's something we've talked about a lot doing, but I don't think we've ever had Airlift participate in a drill with us. And those will primarily be in the emergency room and around neonatal transport type of drills. So excited to have that as a resource, especially as Deb Callens is working on a clinical excellence team and nursing education development team. So just excited for the work there ahead. WSNA contracts up for negotiation. We've got multiple meetings scheduled with the negotiating team. It was tough to get all those booked between our attorneys, their people that they want represented for our nurses, and then our team. So I think most of those are coming up in October and November, and look forward to working through that with our WSNA partner. Reminder that we have an open house on October 7th for orthopedics. That was supposed to be, I think it was in October or August, but we had to bump it back due to some delays over there and having to move general surgery back into the ortho space. But October 7th is the new open house. So absolutely welcome the commissioners to attend that and see that new space rather than being patients in it to see the space. But if you do have to be an ortho patient, we would love to treat everybody. Last thing, just I was able to connect with Congresswoman Schreier here at KVH, and a few of us on the exec team plus Danny Crawford were able to meet with her and talk about some of the pressing issues going on in KVH land and just healthcare across the state, but nothing that Congresswoman Schreier doesn't know. She's a very strong advocate, and we're fortunate to have her leadership in Congress. And I am open to taking any questions.
Any questions for Jason? Looks like everybody's satisfied.
Right on. Thank you.
Okay,
Boring
thank you, Jason. All right, moving on to Chief of Human Resources, Janine Reddy.
Thank you. You can see on page 20, our key workforce metrics, holding steady at a little 800 employees. Our total turnover and RN turnover remain well under target, so that's wonderful news. We'll probably make that goal actually a little bit more aggressive for 2026. But for now, we still remain very strong in those numbers. Our recruitment efforts continue to be our primary focus, along with our culture developments and our HRIS transformation work. As you can see, we were able to fill some pretty difficult hot jobs, and you can see the average day time to fill. Because that's a large number, that means it was a harder, we had a couple of harder positions that were filled. It just took us that long. So that was actually that's the one, yeah, I didn't mind seeing a little bump in the number, but that's what that means. And then our candidate hiring experience is well above average. So that's wonderful news. And yeah, as Jason alluded to earlier, we had a bit of a shock to the system with some of the candidates that we thought we were onboarding, but that's okay. We pivot accordingly and just, reached out to the two individuals that did not pass their boards and said, hey, it happens to the best of us. We still want to maintain a good relationship with them and, see what we can do moving forward once they do pass. We don't want to lose them. So both good candidates there. I want to make sure we're maintaining those relationships. It's kind of a long-term, sometimes you got to play the long game with them, and that's the position we chose to take. And then our provider updates, again, won't go over those, Jason already went through that. And again, our student and volunteer services are running strong. Kyle does an amazing job with student outreach, which is wonderful. We're seeing actually higher numbers than I think historically with our high school engagement and some of the on-site outreach between Heather and Kyle. So we're sending them out into the community as much as we can in surrounding communities. And he's doing some good outreach efforts with Greater Help Now as well to kind of partner with them to strengthen those high school relationships. Again, just aligning with our strategic plan to improve partnerships and maintain good, strong relationships with our area school systems. Any questions?
You had a couple of resolutions you wanted to
Yep.
present?
Yep. So the first one is regarding our Benefits Advisory Committee. And we are asking the board to basically authorize the following positions to constitute the Benefits Advisory Committee. We wanted to get a little bit more structure around who would be on the committee. And without naming like personal names, it would just be a position. And then when the income comes in position, it would automatically be part of the Benefits Advisory Committee.
And that's
That
a
is
resolution every
number
5
one.
years that,
Yeah.
that we have in the resolution that we would continue to bring back every 5 years. This is that bring back.
So would you like a motion on this?
Yes, please.
Approval? So,
Yes.
for the board members, had a chance to review, when ready, I'll entertain any motion to approve this resolution.
I'll move to approve.
Second. Motion by Erica, second by Bob. Any further discussion?
Oh, Bob's here.
Bob is here. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I too will vote aye. Anyone opposed? So resolution number 25-06 passes. You have a second resolution you'd like to introduce?
I do. And then we are, with regards to our deferred compensation savings plan, we are asking for the plan to authorize individuals holding certain positions within the employer to act on behalf of the plan. Just to give, Valak would act as the custodian, but then our positions within our financial officer and CEO would then act on behalf of the plan. Make any
And-
changes as necessary.
And just a little bit, this is a similar resolution you guys have passed in the previous as well, but this does change the name to Valak Trust Company. So in my 10 years here, we've had to pass these resolutions to change it from Valak over to AIG and then to Corbridge, and this one's back to Valak. So, and then it still just allows myself and Jennifer Reed to be those custodians for any changes to the account.
So you support this resolution, Jason?
Yes.
Anything else you'd like to do?
Nope, that's
Okay.
it.
Any questions, or if not, entertain a motion to pass this resolution when ready?
Motion.
Motion by Matt,
Second.
second by Terry. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. Anyone opposed? So resolution number 25-07 passes. Thank you. Anything else for us tonight from your office?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to operations. Chief Nursing Officer, Debbie Callens, what do you have?
Starting on page 28. We have a new director that we have promoted from manager. When I first had talked about the operations plan around the hospice supervisors, case management, etc. We've expanded that role. So now the same person who was the manager is now the inpatient services director. So she also has med surg and critical care. And we're very excited about it because we will have a great partnership with the ED director and the med surg inpatient services director. So very excited about some of the work. For example, I had spoke months ago about certain things about communication across the hospital. How are we managing our patient throughput and flow? And one of the things she's already implemented with Cody and the rest of the directors is a capacity huddle. So we do a bed capacity huddle 3 times a day. It started last week. We're starting with nursing, brought the charge nurses together 3 times a day to talk through constraints with moving patients, any issues, case management can get involved, etc. So that will expand. but that's just an example of how we're collaborating with directors that we have. So we're very excited about that. The OR volumes are staying steady and they are just beginning the work that they wanted to do a while ago, but now that they're out of construction, they're actually starting a process improvement around access to surgery. So optimizing our access in all areas, with the turnover times, on-time starts, and then eventually we'll look at block utilization. So it's really exciting work. Now that Amy has her managers in place, she can really focus on that as a director. So I'm very excited for her. I did want to call out Jim and his team from Food and Nutrition. They put on a wonderful barbecue. Don't know that we mentioned it last month. If we did, I apologize. Oh, no, I wasn't here. I don't know if I got talked about. I was on vacation.
You were on a big boat.
Yeah, so this is since then, but I do think it was a wonderful event. If you were able to come, they do a really good job putting that together. We had a lot of fun making each other sit in the chair and get really wet. But it was very fun, great food. I just wanted to call that out. The other thing that Jim is doing that I think is worth mentioning is his virtual dietitian program has continued to grow, and he has another hospital that he's signed on. And then he's now they're reaching out to him for other smaller hospitals like Ferry, who are wanting him to come in and help them with their food and nutrition program. So that sometimes that's not a skill set that these smaller hospitals have, and he has a lot of background and skill set to offer. So we're gonna deploy him out, and he's gonna spend a day and look at their programs and help them with their dietary and nutrition program. So I think that's really exciting. He sought that out on his own. He's just fantastic. So I wanted to call that out. And then lastly, Jason mentioned the clinical excellence program or department that we're building. This is partly why we created an inpatient services director. We really wanted to move some resources over to this department. We're very excited. So Janine has handed off the baton from the HealthStream project, which was instrumental in getting that foundational system in place. Now we're taking that for the clinical staff and developing a true, tried and true program for professional development ongoing. So you're going to hear a lot about it in the next year. It is going to be potentially after we meet Monday and ensure this is what we want to do. But in looking at all clinical staff and making sure they have what they need, I don't know what providers will fall, Dr. Thomas, sorry, but other than providers possibly. And then breaking out nursing and having nursing and presented a framework for them. So we created a nursing framework and starting to look at education, practice, and quality as a tripod model on how we're going to implement practice across the system, et cetera. So I'm very excited about that. So we are hiring a manager for that role. We have an offer out. So hopefully next month I'll get to announce that we have a manager in place. And then Amy Morse, who's over Family Birth, she was that's her passion is education. She loves family birth. So she gets to be the director of both with a manager in place. So we're really excited about the work that we're doing there and partnering with HR on the rest of staff development. So that's all I have unless you have questions.
Any questions? Thank you for your report. Appreciate it. Chief Ancillary Officer, Wanda Holden.
Yes, my report is on page 30 and I do have a few updates. Jason did sign the lease with Midtown Depot for an extended period. So the initial term is now 10 years with renewal at 5 and 5. So that's great.
Three
and then the-
5-year
Three
renewals.
5 years instead of 2 5 years originally.
So 10, 5, 5, 5. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
And then we heard on September 30th not September 30th, we heard earlier this week that DOH approved our plan. So we're able to start our first construction meeting on September 30th. So next Tuesday, we'll have the team together and be moving right along on that project. And it should take, they're estimating 90 days for us to complete it, at least at this point. So
And that's the VK PAL, their new name. That's the group that'll be doing it.
probably so. I think we're going over some fine details on their bid just to make sure that it's comparable to the other one, and we haven't missed anything, but they do look like they will be the lowest bidder. And it is, of course, being handled through Midtown Depot. The owners are contracting directly.
Excellent.
And my other update is with the departure of Michelle Worrell giving her resignation. She wore many hats here, and one of them that she wore was our emergency preparedness coordinator. So we've worked on developing a job description that is separate from what
we previously had with Michelle, and Amy Bloodworth, who is our Director of Cardiopulmonary Services. She has accepted that position, and she's just so excited to do this. She was thrilled that we would consider her for that role because she does have a passion for it. And she does have a master's degree in hospital administration in addition to her bachelor's degree in respiratory therapy. So she's well prepared to take on this role. That's all of my updates, but I can certainly answer questions you may have.
Questions? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Chief of Clinic Operations up next, Stacy, and my understanding, based on Jason, is she's at the conference with Jason. Do you want to say anything on her behalf, or anybody else you'd like
Yeah.
to assign to this?
Yep, I'll just make note of a few things. So you'll see in Jennifer's report that just volumes are down a bit, and a lot of that we're highly driven from the outpatient side. We've had a good number of absences, FMLAs, and just holes in our provider schedules in various clinics, rapid access, even still from stealing Dr. Thomas out of clinic, and his physician replacement will be starting next month, I believe it is, up in Clallam. And then we even had somebody on a long-term, an extended leave. So volumes are just down in the clinics the last couple months, but they should start trickling back up now. And Janine's team, I believe, has signed 23 offer letters for providers to be starting this year. So in 9 months, I think that's the most that we've ever signed for providers to be starting and onboarding. So really excited to be flipping over to an onboarding position and a recruiting position and continue with the retention efforts. One thing that Stacy did want me to note is that the Janine and Stacy and myself work together on a compensation structure for our MA assistants. So we have, I think it's about 90 or 100 MAs. And one thing that we were running into is that the MAs didn't want to cross-train in different clinics. They also did not want to precept apprentices anymore, just because it's, easier to just stay in your home department versus float various areas. Compensation's the same, so the question is, why would I want to? So they're really having a lot of recognizable pushback to float to different clinics each day. Stacy wanted to call out that we now have 30 MAs since rolling this out that are raising their hand to go cross-train to other clinics. And we have more than enough MAs ready to be preceptors to be able to onboard more MA apprentices. So this was a change that has absolutely brought positive influence. From having 0 MAs wanting to cross-train to 30 is just an astounding number that she wanted to call out today. So thank you, Janine, for your work on that, and the board for the support as we develop our staff and invest in our staff and recognize these little efforts that they do to go above and beyond. That's all I have for Stacy's report. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Stacy's report? Doesn't look like it, so thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you.
Moving on to Chief of Staff, Dr. Hoppy. Will you handle that? Okay, so Dr. Thomas will step in and give us that report.
Dr. Hoppy expressed her apologies that she couldn't be with us tonight. She asked me to step in on her behalf and see the candidates for credentialing. On September 9th, the Medical Executive Committee met and heard the cases of 7 initial applicants and 7 applicants for reappointment, and voted in the affirmative to recommend for privileging for all of these candidates.
Okay. I'm sure you've all had a chance to review the files, and so when ready, I will entertain a motion.
I say to vote for this. I approve it.
Are you
We make a motion?
I make a motion, yes.
Okay, motion,
second?
second by Erica. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. Anyone opposed? That motion passes. So, thank you. And so moving on to Dr. Thomas for your official report.
Fantastic.
Can I just want to note, I want to just note 4 of those on there. So as see on there, that second one, Sierra Delay. So Dr. Delay will be starting at Family Med Clallam That was the first position Dr. Thomas and I recruited after taking this position, and really excited to welcome Sierra to Family Med Cle Elum. If you look back one page, you'll see that Family Med Cle Elum, I think their average days to first appointment is something like 90 days to your next available appointment. So there's just not enough access in Upper County, and really excited to be investing in Upper County. So we'll be, when Midtown Depot moves out, we'll have more space in Cle Elum, and look forward to adding more providers up there. And then women's health provider, Lacey Haggerty, will be new. And we'll have a fourth general surgeon, Dr. Bonnie Hawley, who will be full-time and has relocated to Ellensburg and has already purchased a house here and excited to integrate into the community. And then a rapid access provider, Laura McCowan. So just want to call those out. Really excited to be welcoming them. If you cross them in the halls, please welcome them.
It's great to hear. Thank you for that information. Very helpful. Dr. Thomas.
As Jason just pointed out, exceptional talent that we're adding to the team. Very excited about everyone who will be joining us, including a couple of local providers, which is very exciting to bring on board the team. My report begins on page 35. I will highlight the fact that several of the medical directors with me to Seattle over the course of the last 2 weeks to begin the process of engaging in the Washington State Medical Association's physician leadership course. That's a 3-month course that has graciously been sponsored by the foundation from their physician leadership fund. And we look forward to the completion of that process over the course of this fall. So otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions? Hearing none, you might be off the hook then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, so, but we do have something I think that still might be under your department, the urology line. Is that something
Yeah.
we need to talk about?
I'd like to introduce Jonica to talk more about the urology service.
Madsen, I know that we've been able to meet in my previous role as the clinic manager for surgical specialty clinics. I now get to do the fun role of strategic projects coordinator. Urology was one of the things that came across one of the first things that came across my plate in the last few months of taking this role. So I wanted to kind of run through just kind of high level with you some of the things that we're working on and some of the ideas that we have. KVH has never had a urology line. We know that we have limited urology presence here in the county, but it's not KVH, a KVH banner. We do about a little over 500 referrals out for urology services every year just from KVH. About 75% of those stay regionally within Yakima or Wenatchee. So if we have our own service, most of those we'd be able to retain here within KVH. So we are would like to establish not just a clinic, but a surgical service. So it'd be similar to orthopedics, general vascular surgery. Really at looking at patient access, growing specialty care, utilizing their new expanded OR space. So we have looked at several different models. What we've kind of landed on right now is kind of this hybrid approach of working with partnering with a third party group, urology group, that would kind of help us kick this off the ground and really start this up because it's something we've never done before. They help provide education and really help get all the pieces put together. So our goal is to be able to partner with this group to kind of launch this service while also we recruit for our own employed urologist. With the goal that hopefully at the end of this, we can find somebody that will want to come and will be a really good fit for KVH as an employed urologist. If we don't find that, we can still have support here through the third party group to be able to have that urologist support and surgery.
This is really good because I've had a lot of people over the several years complain that they had to travel someplace else for their urology, and having this done now is going to be 1,000% great that we have a urology here now.
We think so too.
Well, because a lot of people have contacted me and said that they were really upset that we didn't have a urologist here.
Yeah, so we, really what this hybrid model allows us is to really open the clinic sooner. So we can really start to build the program while we're able to recruit and hopefully have that as a little carrot for somebody. Hey, we're building this. It's not just you come and then we'll build it. So we're hoping that that can help with recruitment. It really provides immediate access and support to multiple, urologists for our folks in the clinic. They're able to do teleurology, really support an APC in the clinic when needed. Then again, we provide training for that as well.
Modified trauma, ER4 here now, lab and imaging, please respond. Modified trauma, ER4 here now, lab and imaging, please respond.
And then one of the other pieces that we really like is the continuity of care. So if we do get our own employed urologist, we know that's only one. People need time off, people get sick. This would give us an opportunity to still have that partnership where they'll be able to provide that service or that urologist to come on site and still do surgeries, still see patients, still work with our employed APC. So it gives us a little bit of more flexibility there and depth to staffing. We've been doing lots of meetings, pretty much met with we have met with all departments across KVH. There are really no concerns as far as feasibility to do this. There's no barrier. Any of the departments have we have a list of procedures already. OR's signed off on, materials has signed off on, engineering has signed off on. So we're all kind of a green flag at this point as far as being able to feel like we can really safely do this here at KVH, which is great. And then really looking at this, it really meets all of our 4 kind of new strategic pillars, which is wonderful. When looking ahead, it would be really our chief nursing officer and our clinic chief of clinic operations. There we go. That would really kind of own this process similarly to the other surgical specialties that we have. That's kind of it, high level in a nutshell. Do you guys have any questions? What we're kind of looking at?
Clearly, there's the demand and, I mean, the theme of this board for many years has been to keep care local. So it sounds like a great opportunity.
Exciting early indications. We've already 2 interested applicants presented by the recruitment department, so very excited about the possibility of actually scoring a permanent.
Fantastic.
I just want to add this opportunity to have a hybrid approach kind of fell to us from a current physician that we employ too, who gave us a referral to a urology group that helps bring services to rural hospitals. So we would employ the APC. The APC would train with this urology group that's in Nashville. And then basically it would have a doc-to-doc consult to be able to call and consult, but they would be trained by the urology group. And then the urologist surgeon would come on site as we need, as cases build up for that on-site surgical services and procedures. They would come here, do the procedures, and then leave. They would also come here if we requested to do some clinic encounters as needed. So it's a really hybrid model and more robust than just straight employment of one provider and then, hey, would you want to start that program for us? So this allows us the ability to start up a program with this larger body, larger expertise, and they're all on board with us continuing to recruit a surgeon. And if we are able to land that perfect fit, that perfect surgeon, then this group that would be hybrid would take a back seat, but still be there for any support that we would want to contract with at that time. So just love the flexibility that it adds. We feel the demand is absolutely there with more than 500 referrals a year. And it's a really, they call it a bread and butter surgical procedures that they'll be doing. So really good opportunity, and just want to commend Jonica for making her rounds with all the departments and keeping everybody so in the loop with this program and answering questions so that we can bring it here with a really seamless approach. Thank you, Jonica.
Do we have a sense that if you jump ahead 3 years, this would be financially viable on its own? It would pay for itself?
Yeah, urology is a highly self-sustaining program. So you'll have a lower mix or a better payer mix, a little bit more into the commercial. Whereas like if you compared this to vascular, you're almost 100% Medicaid, Medicare. Urology will bring more into your commercial payer mix. And they stay very busy, and it's surgical, so it does bring higher revenue. So it's a really good program for our type of facility to offer for sustainability. And that's just a good question. Always just thinking of balancing our risk. So in the singular program itself, trying to avoid single points of failure. A one provider specialty creates an obvious single point of failure around the surgeon, which is like we have with vascular. So this hybrid approach mediates that. And then also as you look across the system, just diversifying all of our different services creates less risk. So if we have 10 single points of failure services, then the whole organization isn't a single point of failure, if that makes sense. So just excited to continue to grow a diversity of programs. And I think that'll be important in the years ahead, looking at all the legislative changes and financial resources that are going to be even harder to navigate in the years ahead.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jonathan? So I believe what we'd like to do is we'd entertain a motion to authorize the administration to negotiate and execute a contract for urology services and thus establishing a urology specialty care at KVH. So if anyone's so inclined, in a motion.
You have to move for that one, Carrie?
Oh.
Motion?
Well, I definitely move exactly what he said. I move for that and support it 1,000%.
They'll second it.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I too will vote aye. Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Thank you for your work putting that together.
Instead of the urology vote, I'm going to no impede on it.
And Dr. Thomas, I'll just circle back to you. Anything else then for your group? Okay, thank you very much for that. So we will move on to Finance, Chief Financial Officer, Jennifer Reed.
Good evening. My report starts on page 37, and I don't have too much to add, except for just to note that we've seen our operating margin go up and down a little bit over the year, but we are right at budget for year sitting at 2.6%. So just wanted to make sure we were aware of that. Our benefits, pro fees and supplies continue to push us over on the expense side, but everybody's working really hard to keep that down. Bonnie in particular, looking at tariffs and negotiating her new GPO and all the contracts. So I'm really proud of her work.
I will say every time I hear from Bonnie, it's usually related. She's found another way to trim the expenses. So I appreciate that effort.
Dog with a bone.
Yeah.
And then just note accounts receivable down now from the beginning of the year of 72 days to 54 days. I think that's a nice sweet spot. So that's good. And they're doing a lot of good work. And Jason mentioned today, you guys are almost at your, almost at a high cash point, highest he's seen in 12 years. So that's a little scary for me because I don't know what to do with money like that. But it really does. Yeah. I know. You do.
No problem.
But between that and the levy, and I just want to say the levy is real. We got our documents today from the county to secure the levy. And between that and some really good cash months, I think we can weather any storm that might come up. So it is, how long can you wait it out, right? And I think we can wait it.
And I know too, some of the excess funds that we keep.
Yep.
To make sure we remain stable, we've slowly rotated them all into much higher earnings.
Yep.
We just got a couple more to clear off the books.
Yep.
When interest rates were almost nothing, so.
Right, and they're almost off.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. So let me see. I don't know if we want to talk about the roof first. This is where we spend the money. Talk about the roof first, or we talk about the fetal monitors first.
I think-
Or we talk about any questions we might.
So why don't we start with your report, see if there's any questions, and then we'll go to the roof.
Let's do
after
that.
So we end on a high note of fetal monitors. Any questions for the financials for this last month from anyone?
Whenever I look at the payer mix, I'm reminded of, the Medicare Advantage and sort of the stuff we've been doing on that. I talked to someone at the farmer's market, last weekend. Talked about how incredibly easy it was to get into Medicare Advantage and get gotten out. It was a giant pain to actually get out. So but it seems like the word has sort of gotten out.
It is, and they're this year reducing their fruit baskets and that sort of thing, and I think we'll do another push for public awareness and just hope that, we're negotiating that fifth Med Advantage plan that's really looking like it's coming in good, and then we'll just work on the others as we go. I think we have a good plan there, like I said, and then just one other thing on the key statistics. Just wanted to point out between patient days, you'll see it's down in volumes, and observation days is really up in volumes year to date, and we're really looking at that with the utilization review committee, with Deb and kind of trying to make sure the patients are in the right status, right? So it's always it's a struggle with the payers. They're trying to tell us where they should be, and we're saying, no, we're the doctors. So, so that's a fact. It's kind of a fun.
And I know in the key statistics, we run, 30 days behind or so, but I hear there's been a few births happening.
Oh,
You actually know these days?
yeah.
We had 5 in one day.
Yeah.
So we had a low month. June was the lowest. July was kind of low, but then August was popping in September. So
Well,
Yeah.
whenever they say, we deliver about a baby a day, they always have to remind us. It doesn't come
it
that.
doesn't happen.
How did it go with the 5 in one day?
I didn't agree.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Dr. Johns. I think he was, by the time I saw him, yeah, he's like,
Pretty beat.
plus he has patients in the clinics anyway. But the staff were excited to have that
Yeah.
many patients and
That's
yeah,
great.
it went well
So we'll see that reflected probably on next month's numbers for that.
for the September, yeah.
But, yeah.
And our numbers, October, November are a little bit lower, but then we had to start to pick back up. So Amy's really tracking right now what we think is coming in.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah.
note, I think we have 36. If you look at like a rolling 30-day average, I think it's 36 deliveries. And I think that might be the highest as far as like a rolling 30-day number. It'll dip back down. And then next year, I've teed up with our new director of community relations to do some community awareness of our family birthing place program and women's health providers. So as you saw with Dr. Hobby's report, Dr. Thomas's report, bringing in another women's health provider. And once that all stabilizes, we look forward to really promoting that program and informing the community of the gem that we have here locally. And it's a very uniquely strong department and services that we offer for women's health and OB and fourth trimester.
Like it'd be a great ad in the Daily Record, 5 in one day. Now do your part. Keep them coming. So,
Not on the same day, but yeah, keep it going.
amen.
But we're ready for it. I think that they delivered 5 in a day, but I think all beds were full.
Oh, yeah, we
So
were full for a couple
There's
days.
6 beds, and they were all full. And we joked they were going to
With
move Deb
lots
out of her
space.
office for another bed.
It took everybody. Amy was working quite a bit in that 10-day stretch, but
That's impressive. They pulled it off.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Very,
And just
very
re-
nice. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Susan.
Oh, and just reach out as well for Dr. Wagnick. It seems like he's always in, ready to help support the team wherever they can. I know that day that they had 5, he is not on call, but he must have been in town because I drove by and his car was here. So just always shout out to our providers and their dedication there and our nursing staff. I know Amy came in for that as well. So lots going on, hugely committed team that we have.
Excellent. Thank you.
Just one more thing on the investment page on page 48. Just pointing out that those top 3 are the low earners that we were talking about by the end of the year. We'll only have 1 left. when that first one matures, we'll keep that, to pay off our debt and then we'll reinvest the other. So unless. you
One
have
more.
Other questions, yep.
Sorry. And we
What?
will be sending letters again to inform the community and people who are
Oh,
Medicare
said that.
eligible about Medicare, Medicaid, and original Medicare options. So if your neighbors get a letter in the mail, we do intend to send that out similar to we did last year. And the goal would be to hold Medicare Advantage either flat or decreasing because the nation is pushing for Medicare Advantage to go up. So we'll continue to fight that wherever we can.
Sounds good. Any other of the financial data before we get on to roof?
The roof. I think I've been hinting about the roof.
You've mentioned,
It's
yeah.
cold. And Trent has a plan.
Right, Trent, take it away.
So yeah, as Jennifer mentioned, she talked about being able to weather a storm and things like that. That might be financially. I'm a little bit worried about physically whether we'll be able to do that. So a couple of years ago, I had contacted with a company that does kind of roofing assessments. They had come in. This was prompted through a discussion I had with Ron. And so they came in and they walked through the roof and built a kind of a report for us. However, at the time when the report came back, obviously a couple of years ago, that was right in the midst of our expansion project. So I took the report to Ron and I said, well, what do we want to do about it? And I think he was ready to kick me out of his office instantly because he had his hands very full with our expansion. So just trying to bring this back. I did have the vendor re-up all of the numbers to reflect kind of inflation and costs 2 years from now, but just kind of note that what they recommend and kind of their recommendation on here for this was actually based on 2 years ago. So we've already added 2 years beyond what they were recommending. So you can scroll down a little bit there. So we have two different roof systems on the hospital. You can kind of see the breakout in the overlay here. We have a darker colored roof that's a black kind of plastic material, and then we have a lighter white colored roofing system that's TPO. Both of these, as you can see here, estimate about 2006 and 2002 installed. So they have some pretty good age across the roofs there. And really, as far as roofing systems go, they're pushing that end of lifespan for that type of roof system and how they hold up. You can scroll down a little bit more. So the first section here, kind of just some pictures and a summary of what the roof looks like, the state of the roof. And mind you, these pictures were once again 2 years ago. So we have areas, here in front of, this is our server penthouse, where in the winter we generate a fairly substantial lake of water just due to lack of slope on the roof. That's a continual ongoing thing. In the photo here, this is one corner where the roof system is actually starting to separate away. That was during the construction project. As the construction project progressed and as we've had wind and elements across there, that area has actually gotten significantly bigger, where that membrane is separating off the roof deck right now. And then across the roof system as a whole, you can see areas where the fasteners are starting to, just with age and weight across that roof, the fasteners are actually pushing back up through that roofing material. So we're starting to pick up more and more small leaks, drips, things like that. Obviously, those show up then inside the building over a course of time, and that can always be fun because where the leak originates on the roof doesn't necessarily correlate to where it comes out in the building, because sometimes it follows pipes or structural members, and you'll have to do a lot of backtracking to kind of identify where that problem originates. But that's kind of an example of that section there, as we just a lot of just problems across that roof system and that have progressively gotten worse with age, and they're getting harder and harder to keep up on as we move forward. If you scroll down a little bit more.
Can I just make one comment here on this since you got the picture up that, oh, go up one, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Where the penthouse is there. So just to orient the board, that building on the left where it looks like there's a building on top of the roof, that is a building on top of the roof. So that is where what we call the penthouse, and not sure how the design came about, but somehow our data server rooms ended up in there many, many years ago. So that is our IT server building, and it has multiple dedicated air conditioners to it to try to cool those servers in probably the hottest area in town to try to cool. So that's the area that took on some water a few weeks ago and ruined the flooring in that area. Jeff's team is looking forward to relocating those data servers off of the roof. That's all.
And yeah, that water penetration was attributed to kind of that roof system, the flashing around that server, that penthouse base and things like that is the most likely cause of that water penetration into that server room. This is just some more examples of conditions up there. You have all the seams on the plastic membrane. They're starting to separate or peel apart. The other part of when we get rain or we have moisture, one of the things that we have engineering do is we actually are usually dedicating at least one person to the roof with a squeegee, and we're actually pushing water off the roof fairly consistently just to try to stay ahead of any potential leaks or problems. And same thing, just some examples of where we've had fasteners that are pushing back through membrane that's separating off the wall. And you have some old existing construction design that was just kind of poorly done at the time. Obviously, someone didn't take the time during the construction process to finish that out and get metal flashing in there properly and seal that to the roof system. But we have spots like that are, as we were walking around and investigating further in that, we found conditions like that existed on the facility. And honestly, for an unknown amount of time that it's been like that. You can scroll down a little bit more. And then this just kind of highlights the other section of roofing, the white colored section of roof. Same sort of deal, not quite as bad as the darker colored section of roof, but we still have numerous spots where over the years we've had to bring in roofing companies to put in patches to resolve leaks. We have sections where the roof membrane is starting to weather, it starts getting really thin, and so it just starts to become permeable at a certain point, and then it starts to separate, so we can end up getting water penetration through all of those areas. So that's kind of a summary of what our current roof systems look like. What myself and Jennifer will do is we have an estimated price from this company, but we will also go out and probably entertain and get quotes from other roofing companies to see where they come in at, how this lines up. And then we'll probably be bringing a budget price back to the board or for Jason or Jennifer for approval to pursue trying to get the roofs on this building, the roofing system replaced on these buildings. Typically, when you get a new roofing system, you look at most companies provide a 25 to 30-year warranty on their roof when they do a full install. So we're looking at an investment that would get us, 25 to 30 more years on this building out of that. So this was just kind of more of an advisory presentation as to our current state. I think just based on the numbers that the company recommended, going with kind of the middle of the road recommendation. They obviously gave you the worst case figure that if the roof system went to failure, they gave you the shock value of the high dollar number, but kind of going the middle of the road and just addressing the issue as is. I think the number came in around 3 million mark for that project. So
A mere 3 million.
does anyone have any
Question for Trent? So if you move forward getting the other bids and quotes, can you lay out a general time period? Feels like this roof, we should start work on it tomorrow based on your photos. So tell me realistically how this would play out.
So realistically, trying to entertain the bids and get a package and a plan together. A lot of what we'd have to do is also look at flashing elevations, and probably either review with an architect or something, make sure there's no need for changes across some of those elevations. But realistically, trying to get bids assembled as much as we can this fall, winter, and target roofing this spring, summer optimally.
Because you typically wouldn't do that work in the winter.
It would not be ideal to do this in the winter. No, it would be that we would have probably more issues than we could count at that point if we tried to remove a roof system in the middle of winter. But yeah, optimally it would be targeted for a spring, summer. Yeah, ideally it would be this coming summer, but I think we'll weather through this winter and see how we do.
How old is this roof now? Or
These are, they're sitting between, both of those systems are sitting between 20 and 25 years old. One was done in 2002 and one was done in 2006.
There's supposed to be a certain type of maintenance schedule, or when they throw down more tar or something like that.
Not really. I mean, when I've talked to the roofing contractors that have been here, the option for TPO roofing is really, they come in and they do more just patches essentially. They'll glue in a new patch, but it's essentially industrial rubber that material is, and so sitting in the sun baking like that, it will just start to degrade over X number of years, and there's not a lot that you can do to mitigate that at a certain point. It has a lifespan, and that's really where we've kind of got with that system.
Knowing that we want to move that server house somewhere else, would it be logical to move that first and clear it off so that when we do that area of the roof, we don't have to redo it again? Or
Yeah, that is my hope, is that we will be able to relocate the servers and have that space empty, and also get all of that failed HVAC mechanical off of that roof section, clean that space out so they can re-roof over that and clean that up so we have less penetrations and connections up there.
So when you're doing all that work on the roof, is it gonna cause it really hard to have a helicopter land directly above us here now to pick up a patient?
It will have some impact when we have to do this, because the roofing around the helipad would be a section that has to get done. So you would have a time frame where you'd have that helipad shut down. But we experienced that and worked through that before with the expansion project. KVFR set up with an alternative landing zone, and it was a really seamless transition of contacting KVFR. They established that alternate LZ, and we worked through that with the expansion, and it was really smooth. So
we'll be able to transfer that patient to a different landing zone so they can get lined up, right?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and they commonly do that already anyway, not so much for helicopters, but for fixed wing. So sometimes helicopters can't come, they go fixed wing, so we have to transfer out to the airfield. And we're fortunate to have KVFR just around the corner, and fortunate for their partnership to add a alternate landing zone. And they also recently, just from request of Airlift and Flightlight, or to fence that area off to secure it even further. So they just completed that too. So good partnership with them.
And Jeff, have you and your team been thinking about when you want to try to move the server off the roof? Is that, we begun discussions on that yet?
That was about 7 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. How's it
Yeah,
going?
Jeff has a company. He's got a company coming out, I think in October. Is it October or November to come in?
They're coming out in October for some other things, but also a few of us have experience in data center construction and moving data centers. And so, yeah, it's something that we have been looking around. When we did the expansion, we actually have a room down in the area. Like, as you know, the technology has changed, and so we have a lot less servers than we used to. That data center DC used to be full of servers. I think there's 7 racks in there. And now we're down to about 2 because of virtualizing servers and some of the other things that we currently do. And so the goal will be to hopefully be able to move it down to maybe that space that we currently have in the new area. We are just wanting to confirm around the cooling, obviously, and then the electrical work. One of the things we did early on, knowing that this was a potential problem, was to build a secondary data center. It's not really, we can't call it a data center, but it's a really co-located site. And so that was Radio Hill. And so we have a room at Radio Hill that contains additional servers with redundancy. So if and when the DC, the data center, goes down or has issues, we can seamlessly transfer some of that technology over to Radio Hill. The only issue with Radio Hill right now is it does not have generator power. And so, but we figured, just having that redundancy would save us in the future. And it has actually saved us several times. And so that's kind of the goal moving forward, that, we sort of have a space. We're just wanting to make sure that everything, the specs all work out for that space that we're thinking about, and then we can probably move forward. So kind of what we are.
We have asked them to add a generator to the Radio Hill construction.
Yep, and that's part of it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yep.
Good. Trent, anything else for us? Thanks for your presentation. I appreciate it. All right, Jennifer, back to you. You have.
One more thing. We've heard about the Philips fetal monitors for at least a month or so, if not longer. And we are bringing a request to make that purchase. Has been recommended by the Capital Committee, and I believe recommended by the Finance Committee. You can speak to that, but
We discussed it at the Finance Committee, asked a lot of questions, and came to the conclusion that it is definitely time to invest in this and add the updated equipment to the family birthplace. So we voted in the Finance Committee to move forward to the board.
Main thing that the main complaint I've heard was this instability where it kept cutting out. So this will be it'll be really nice to have the improved reliability. Sure.
And it's a wireless system, so the patients can get up and move around, or when they're flipping over, they're not trying to worry about cords and those things. So it'll be a lot more robust system and better experience for the patient. And it's recommended from our physician group.
I just think that's really cool.
Yeah.
and this is for 7 months, 7 months.
So we can do 5 babies at once.
Extra.
Yeah, bring it on.
Could have 7.
Gotta have a
They'll be in the hallways.
Wait a minute.
And they'll also interface
I
with.
have to catch a baby.
EMR.
Say again, Jason?
And they'll also be interfaced into our EMRs, and that cost is embedded in this as well.
Good.
I'd like to make a motion. on this.
Okay, motion from Erica. Okay, second by Bob. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the capital expenditure for the fetal monitors, say aye.
Aye.
I too vote aye. Anyone opposed? That motion passes. Good.
How soon will they be here? He's asking on behalf of mom.
She's ready to.
The order
She'll
order will be
order
put in tomorrow.
She said.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, good thing you approved it because they arrive tomorrow.
Working on it. We just have to make sure our systems cross, and Jeff's team working on that. too.
Jennifer, anything
And
else?
this-
Oh, go ahead.
This really
Jason?
stems from, we have new leadership in family birthing with Amy Morrison there, really evaluating our systems. And then we've done some root cause analysis as well, just to really study our practices. And this is one of the opportunities we found through a recent study. It wouldn't have changed any outcomes or anything of that nature, but this is something that our quality department and our CNO and Amy Morris have identified as an opportunity to just deliver a better service to our community. I don't know if Erica and Matt, as part of the QI team that also reviewed this and made this recommendation to continue pursuing equipment to better our services, might have any comments about that QI council discussion as well.
No, like I said, the main thing we talked about was the unreliable connectivity. So, I mean, seems good.
And as I recall, I think the current units cannot get wet, cannot be submerged, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Submerge them once.
yeah, just one.
Good point.
Yeah, great.
Good. Well, that's exciting. That's wonderful. So Jeffrey, you're good there? Everything?
That's all I got.
All right.
Unless you got me.
Jason, anything else you want to say about any of that?
No,
He said something.
no,
All right,
that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So next up, we've got community relations report. Michelle, I don't see her online or anything. Is anybody handling her report for tonight?
Me, happy to take questions. Otherwise, you have kind of the dates on the back. I called out the main one. Just want to encourage the board and staff, anybody on YouTube land, anybody watching this, to join us for the open house for orthopedics, October 7th. We had the tailgate party and football game at CWU last Saturday that was well attended. I want to say we had like 85 employees that came to the game. So awesome to see that participation, and love having those events to try to pull staff out too and to get together outside of the office. So thank you to all those that joined that event, and I had a good time. It's also fun one to take the family to as well, not just with our employees. So it's been fun. With Michelle's report, Michelle's last day will actually be next Friday, October 3rd. So just want to take the time to wish her the best in her next chapter and just thank her for her service to KVH over the last 11 years and her most recent capacity as Chief of Community Relations. Congratulations to Crystal Densley, and thank you to her as she will be moving into a Director of Community Relations role. And very likely with this report, well, Crystal will report to me, and I will just include a piece from her and updates from community relations in my report, but probably continue to have a page on events dedicated in the packet, because that has been very useful to reference.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions on her report? All right, hearing none, then we will move on to the next item will be executive session, unless anybody has anything in old or new business that we missed. Okay, hearing none, we will adjourn to executive session. So it's 6:33 right now. So why don't we take a 7-minute break and we'll reconvene in the executive session at 6:40. How long do we need?
Let's say 15 minutes, I think should be pretty safe. And just Dr. Thomas and Jennifer to stay. Rhonda, you're totally optional to stay, but yeah, you're welcome to jet too.
And so Jason, will you log out and re-log in, or how are we gonna get that handled? Perfect.
Yep,
Okay.
I have a different
So-
Zoom link. I'll jump on.
So we'll take a 7-minute break, reconvene at 6:40 for a 15-minute executive session. Is there any action expected at the end?
No action.
No action. All right. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned from the regular meeting and we'll reconvene the executive session shortly. Fred, thanks for coming in tonight. I really appreciate it.